This is Synesia, a humid hothouse planet with large amounts of rainfall and a high sea level. Though some microbes call this planet home, it is otherwise a barren world. This is where we will be seeding our pioneer species. Unlike many seed world projects, we won't be seeding Earth life on this planet, but instead we'll be planting alien life here. Because of this, we'll need to take a closer look at these organisms to get a better understanding of them. This is a neovermis. They will serve as our invertebrate analogs. They are soft-bodied segmented worms with a small simple eye used to detect light level. Other than this, they are very similar to earthworms, and so unlike their fellow pioneers, there's not much else to say about them. As time goes on, however, they will diversify greatly. This is a Testemporcus. They will serve as our vertebrate analogs. They have a shell on their backs, two stalk eyes on their heads, retractable tongues, and a single eye on their chest. Their rears have feathery plates, called pommel plates. These semi-hollow structures bring in oxygen and expel carbon dioxide, much like the lungs of terrestrial vertebrates. Testemporcus are social animals, which eat group, or drove, containing anywhere from 10 to 30 individuals. These droves spend their days eating many different things, as, much like pigs, Testemporcus are omnivores, though the slight majority of their diet is comprised of plant matter. This is a Cavaramis. They will serve as our plant analogs. Cavaramis perform photosynthesis using a teal or cyan pigment. The entire body is capable of performing photosynthesis. At the top of this body is the fruiting spire, from which spores are released. After sprouting, young Cavaramis produce a scent, with the hopes of it being picked up by neighboring young plants. The sprouts will then grow in the direction of the nearest other sprout and connect. They will continue to grow towards any other neighboring sprouts, and by 8 weeks, bend and grow down their own branches. By 5 to 8 months, they reach their mature size and now reproduce themselves. They will continue to grow for many years. The photosynthetic branches are the primary photosynthetic organs of the Cavaramis. The branches grow down and out, taking up a considerable amount of space lower to the ground. The roots of the Cavaramis are very similar to earth roots, absorbing water and nutrients from the soil. All original sprouts have roots, but only some of the offshoot branches develop roots. The neovermis, Testemporcus, and Cavaramis are the only organisms being seeded on Synesia, and now that we're accustomed to them, we can discuss some early adaptations and variations that evolve in the first 10 million years of the project. Starting with the Cavaramis, early on, some Cavaramis species, rather than joining up with others and growing large, remain small and reproduce at a smaller size. These species, which we'll be calling Grammaramis, become the grass of the world, and quickly spread across the planet. Others, which we'll be calling Lateramis and Alteramis, remain more similar to the basal Cavaramis. The Alteramis, in order to escape the crowded lower parts of the forest, grow very tall. The Lateramis remain almost identical to the basal Cavaramis, though they grow quicker than their ancestors. The neovermis too have changed from their ancestral form. The solemn vermis continue to live in the soil, but are no longer just detritivores. Some of them have become soil predators, hunting fellow solemn vermis as well as soil microbes. Others have begun to feed on the roots of the Cavaramis. Not all neovermis remain in the soil, however, with two clades, the Ambula and Mortis vermis, taking to the surface with larger, more developed eyes. The Mortis vermis are largely scavengers, feeding on dead Ambula vermis and Testemporcus. The Ambula vermis themselves, meanwhile, graze primarily on Cavaramis, walking around on simple legs, evolved from extensions of their flesh. Each Ambulovermis has 2 legs per body segment, giving them 24 legs in total. Finally, we'll take a look at how our vertebrate analog pioneers, the Testemporcus, have changed since seeding. The Pescariporcus remain very similar in appearance to the basal Testemporcus, however they have become fully herbivorous. They travel in large droves that can number in the hundreds and feed on the Grammaramis and lower parts of the larger Cavaramis. The Photioporcus have become smaller and closer to the ground to better feed on roots and Grammaramis. In addition to digging up roots, they've also begun to dig small burrows, though for now, these mostly only serve to keep the eggs and young safe. The Titanoporcus have become the largest of the Testemporcus in order to feed on the higher parts of the Lata and Alteramis, out of reach of the Pescariporcus. Finally, the Exilium porcus have become mesocarnivores, supplementing 50 to 75% of their diet with the flesh of other animals. Often they eat large Ambulivermis, but they will also consume the bodies of dead Testimorchus and even take advantage of small and inexperienced droves and eat their eggs. The warm tropical climate of Synesia fuels species diversity and allows for the various types of Caviramis to reproduce year-round. This not only provides the various animals feeding on them with large amounts of sustenance, but it also leads to the rapid development of dominant lush environments. By the end of the first 10 million years, Synesia is dominated by forest, with higher inland areas supporting fewer large Caviramis and more Grammaramis. Though the initial adaptive radiation of life on Synesia has been grand, life will only become more diverse as predators become more specialized and pollination develops when we revisit Synesia in the next episode.